Hello Tech Babes, I'm Alexis Wogan. I'm a director of product management and a member of the Unblock team. I'm here to talk to you about becoming product managers. A lot of the PMs that I've met across my career have come from the business and technology sectors. And while PMs that have these backgrounds can be very successful, I'm of the opinion that we need more product managers that are centered in an empathetic perspective and that are inherently user-centric. We, humanity, need more product designers to become product managers. The good news is that the path from product designer to product manager is shorter than you may think. I have designed this series for product designers that have 0 to 3 years of experience that are just interested in learning more about product management. I've also designed this course for product designers that have 3+ years of experience that would be interested in considering pivoting to a career in product management. And finally, this is the best part. A lot of time. George tried to talk me out of this, but I'm feeling really passionate about it. I'd like to invite you to sign up for a one-day workshop. There's gonna be information about it by just clicking on the link inside the description. It'll be exclusive. There'll be limited spaces. I'm so excited at the opportunity to have live interaction with Unblock viewers in this kind of a format. We'll talk shop, we'll make professional connections, and hopefully have some fun. That's the pitch, Tech Babes. Keep watching the video. I'm about to talk about the differences between the roles. If you like the content, please like and share the video and subscribe to the channel. And remember, if at any point I've caught your interest, go ahead and sign up for the one-day workshop. All right, so now what we're going to do is get into examining the gap between product management and product design. The best way to do this is by mapping the product life cycle, talking about the various phases, and we can talk about the advantages that I believe product designers have. We're going to start by walking the product life cycle end to end so that we can familiarize ourselves with the phases. First phase in the product management life cycle is assessing target opportunities. The second phase is determining your target customer. The third phase is defining and designing your product. The fourth phase is building and launching your product. And the fifth phase is measuring and iterating on your product. Now, let's go back and plot where we use the design process model, the double diamond, and where we pull from the agile methodologies, Scrum and Kanban. So I'm going to go ahead and zoom out just a little bit here. So the double diamond, the problem and solution, or another way to think of dual track agile, where you have a discovery track where you are discovering and defining work, and a delivery track where you are developing and delivering. So the double diamond is a design process model that product orgs that are research and design led tend to use. So it pulls in right here at the determine your target customer phase. So really here at the very beginning is when you really move into discovery and defining work. And then you flip over into the solution area when you hit phase 4 into the build and launch your product. Scrolling down a little bit more, now we're going to talk about Kanban, we're going to talk about Agile. So if you look where I've positioned these diagrams, I've got Kanban hovering right below determine your target customer and define and develop your product, these phases of the life cycle. And I like Kanban as a methodology for working with designers, researchers, and other stakeholders like marketers, because you don't need an agile sprint structure to be able to manage work with professionals like this, but you do need some sort of process. And Kanban is simple enough to be able to manage work in a way that, as a product manager, what matters to me is making sure that I've loaded my team correctly. And so this way I can visualize what everybody's doing and make sure that everyone has just the right amount of work so that I'm not crushing anyone. When you move into the solution track and you're starting to work with engineering, you need something that's a little bit more sophisticated. And that's where agile methodologies come in. As a product manager, you may also find yourself responsible for running a Scrum team. And then you're going to want to be familiar with all of the activities that happen inside the agile methodology, where you are planning sprints and collaborating with design and development, creating and implementing actual features throughout a sprint, reviewing and monitoring the outcome, and then doing the analysis so that you can fold that information back into the roadmap. That is all supported by Agile methodologies, and Scrum's the one that I see practiced rather frequently. Again, during the phase, up here at the top, phase 4, build and launch your product and measure and iterate your product. That's where Agile methodologies pull in. For you, as you contemplate this career pivot, as a product manager, an entry-level product manager, you don't have to know how to do everything right away. There's a minimum amount that you're going to want to know to be able to get your first job, and then the rest of it comes with practice. When you get into the assess the target opportunities area, you want to be thinking about product management fundamentals and how to package yourself. The advantage that I think product designers have is that it's going to be easy for you to learn the fundamentals because you're already loosely familiar with them because you've been working as a product designer. So you know more than you think. In the next part, when we think about the strategically understanding your customer, you already know how to work with a cross-functional team to influence success metrics. What you need to learn how to do is actually connect the user personas, the use cases, and the success metrics, and understand how to work with finance to be able to understand things like target opportunity, strategic goals that the company has. That's an area that you'll need to work to understand, but you have a ton of information that you can leverage right away because you've already used user personas and you've already worked with a Scrum team to move success metrics. Moving into the next phase, when you think about determining your target customer, this is probably an area where you have the most ground to cover. You need to know how to define a business opportunity or a user problem. You need to know how to work with finance and business intelligence. And you need to think about how it is that you're going to influence product strategy at the executive level. This is one of those areas that we don't expect our associate PMs to know what to do. When you move into the next part of this phase 2, determining your target customer, there's this validating the opportunity hypothesis. You already know how to validate opportunity or possible solutions. You know how to do that because you've worked with your product manager to do user testing. You've worked with your product manager to look at the roadmap. You've actually seen roadmap prioritization in action. So again, you already know how to do customer development and you know how to do design validation with engineering. You already know how to do a lot of the activities that are going to be used in this phase. Now looking at 3, defining and designing your product. This is another area from ideas to action here where you talk about the MVP, writing the PRD, all of that. Yeah, there's some things you're going to need to learn. You're going to need to learn how to scope releases, how to write documentation, how to build and prioritize roadmaps. But that shouldn't be too scary because you've seen a roadmap and you've worked on a team executing on an approved roadmap. So I think as the recipient of these documents, you actually have a lot more knowledge than you think you have. The next part here on the validating an opportunity hypothesis, this is where you can do sketching and wireframing, prototyping, you're running design sprints. I mean, you are already the champion of this part of the product lifecycle. Really now it's going to be about the framing from switching from being a designer to working with a designer and learning how to stand down so they can stand up. And then when you move into 4, building and launching your product, you're going to need to familiarize yourself with how to run a Scrum team and how to construct an A/B test. But again, you've been on a Scrum team. You know what it's like to work with engineering. You know what it's like to lead a team because you've watched people do it. Again, you know more than you think. One of the second parts after you've worked to build it is you've got to take it to market. And you need to think about how to take a new product to market and how to release a product that's existing to an already fluent user base. This is something you can build into over time. As a designer, you have an advantage because you already know how to work with marketing. You've probably already been involved in a couple of product launches. As you move into the final phase, which is measure and iterate on your product, this is where you really are going to need to learn how to act on learnings, how to update your roadmap, and how to evangelize what you're doing across the company. The good news is you've seen this all done and you've participated in it before. And again, for the final phase here, this public speaking phase, I was talking about it earlier, it's about learning how to communicate in a way that inspires others, and you're going to learn how to continuously communicate what your team has done and what they're doing. All right, let's recap. As you can see, product designers with a few years of experience have significant advantages when going for an entry-level role as a product manager. The smallest gaps are in the final 3 phases. Once you close them, you can leverage your expertise as a designer to really stand out as a candidate. If you like this content, please like and share the video and subscribe. And if you want to learn more about becoming a PM, sign up for my workshop. See you later, Tech Babes.